Ladies and gentlemen, I am 30 years old now. Hi. It's time to cast Neblime vs. TopRamen on a new map by Biddy B, decorated by Jujik. It's called Potidea, and it's apparently an island in Greece or something. Let's get on with it. We've got TopRamen in the top left as none other than the Silver Terran. Yeah. And we've got Neblime in the bottom right as the Ultramarine Protoss. Oh, it was Zephyr. I was so confident in Ultramarine too. But you know what? As I said it, it looked a little too dark. So we have TopRamen in the top left and Neblime in the bottom right. This is a TVP on Potidea, as mentioned before. I saw this earlier, and I can't believe this is still a bugged tile. We'll talk about that later on. Looks like we've got some spectators. Yes, Marty and Ava. And so we have that going on in the background. Meanwhile, we do have a Fulcrum opener here for TopRamen. Okay, so I was just about to say, like, based on the matchups and the meta and stuff that I've seen, Ramen does like his Fulcrum openers versus Protoss. I think Shambler might be the only one rocking Bio versus Protoss right now, at least as, like, a common build. I feel like as Protosses get a little bit more comfortable with the fact that the Grand Library no longer provides Atreus Splash, they'll either go Grand Library for Storm anyway, or they'll be... Oh yeah, they're probably trying to figure out lag or something. I figured they'll end up watching the streams on Discord. You will note that Ramen and Neblime do stream a lot in the Discord server, and Ramen also likes to stream on Twitch sometimes, so that's pretty good. My Princess. Yeah, it's in another castle, right? Something like that. I think Mario said that. I almost said Mafia. Mario said that once. You know, Mafia, the famous game. Looks like the two-Falk opener over here for Ramen. He's going to be putting on some pressure with those vultures. That will get scouted by Neblime. You can see Ramen not bothering to scout with his Mason, instead opting to go directly into some more aggressive build. Actually, he put some damage on the vulture as well with that scribe. Even gets another shot at. I feel like sometimes Ramen gets a little bit too silly and fancy with the Micra. You know, you could just issue an attack order and instead of dancing and running into him. But anyway, a very, very minor note. I'm sure it won't matter. I mean, let me try to do some quick maths. The Hierophant just deals 8 damage. So actually, you know, you did do more than 8 damage to the Vulture because you hit it with twice. So in a way, that actually does end up mattering for sure, no matter the breakpoints. So yeah, it did matter, actually. Got him. Absolutely got him. No mines on that front Vulture. Trying to do a little bit of kiting backwards. Doing its best. Second Vulture comes on down, trying to lay the mine, but gets tagged by the Hierophant. That kind of slows it down. Instead, just trying to hit it with a couple of fadeaway shots here. And Ecclesiast is not the strongest response to this. And actually, Neblime might end up just losing his Hierophant if he's not too careful about that. Another Vulture coming on down here for TopRamen. Has he misrallied? Yeah, so one of his Vultures is not on the way. I know he's been practicing this kind of opener very, very much so recently. Ecclesiast is just going to go ahead and sort of double tap the Vultures away. And yeah, because those other ones weren't rallied down, it is going to be a little bit here before Ramen can move on, going for his own Ministry. It's actually a little bit further ahead than the Nexus for Neblime. Grand Library finishes the Cantavus, and we've got Ecclesiast Zealot. I think maybe the Ecclesiast would have died to the Vulture. Not 100% sure about that one, but it's definitely not looking too good. He just stormed his own Warden to death, so that's no good. And Neblime might actually be in a lot of trouble here, although that is a great little option for him to go for the Storm there as they try to go between the Pylon and the Nexus. As of right now, these Vultures are very wounded. You know, the Worker goes down. That's not too bad, but yeah. Ramen, his biggest snipe there was definitely successfully pinning that Cantavus. And he's actually gone for double Scrapyard, making Blackjacks. So it looks like when you see a Terran try this sort of thing, I think it's because they're trying to see what they can do to finish the game, right? The Blackjack represents a very potent unit in this very specific window of time with the game being like this. And so, you know, he's got to watch out because the Cantavus can definitely blanket a lot, but let's see. Yeah, okay, he's going to go down. That's another good pick for Ramen. Now, he is losing these Vultures, but at least he's laying out a minefield here. You can see Neblime trying to clear it with the Zealot there. He's pretty good about bringing, like, scribes around and stuff. The mines obviously stun you for 3 seconds, slow you for 3 more. Blackjack's now amassing a troop of 4. It looks like it'll be a Blackjack, maybe Phalanx. which makes a lot of sense. You saw a Warden being warped in before. You suspect there's probably going to be another one. The third Cantavis is on the way, and a storm onto these Blackjacks could be bad news, right? So they do move slower and attack slower when they are damaged. I was thinking about maybe making it one or the other as opposed to both, or maybe just reducing how much of a debuff it is. You can see Ramen's not got any mines here, but Neblime doesn't know that, so he's going to send the Scribe in as an advanced sort of mine clearer. But Ramen's not even going to allow him just yet. He's going to go ahead and heckle him out of here. If he clears these ground units before really too much happens, that's going to be a very big W for him, as the Cantavis is kind of just out in the middle of nowhere. Now, I always say this about Blackjacks. They have really good stats for their cost. It's just that their stats are not set in stone. They do have that ability to get debuffed here by damage. And so, I don't know about this for Neblime. The unit pathing on Ramen's side kind of went all out of nowhere and all around the world, right? And so now he's going to see if he can kill that Cantavis. Looks like he will be successful. And will he just focus down the other one? He's been kind of... He's not really targeted much, if anything, really, if we're being honest here. And the Madrigal is not going to be very useful at this point. Could have maybe deployed there, but I don't know. That's not what you want to do, buddy. Pack that one up and move away, my friend. All right, we're going to get some Matadors out. They move pretty fucking fast these days. So, look, Matador Madrigal. That is an interesting composition. Third Ministry on the way. I wonder what he's doing that for. Maybe he's like deathly afraid of an air-based response here for Neblime, who has been able to tech out of this situation. Going for the Embassy Ardent Authority, probably wants to do a Cantor drop. Obviously could also do a Storm drop with how many Cantavis he's made. Losing the Cantavis previously, I mean, he still has one somewhere. So there is that as well. Madrigals are kind of interesting. They kind of pop in here and really absorb a lot of the pressure because you're like, oh my, man, I really want to stop that unit from doing that much damage to me. You can see here the Matadors are getting bopped on the way out, though. The Madrigal not able to be super effective. Frontlining, they are pretty speedy, so it kind of makes sense. Now we've got Blackjacks finally switching into some Phalanxes, and as the Atriuses come out, these are like heavier Dracodons in a way, right? They obviously move less quickly, but you gotta watch out for those bad boys, so... No mines, no vultures have been made recently. Those are going to be some of the units that you want to use before you get destroyed by Cantavis, right? So, yeah, this is not looking too ideal as these Blackjacks just get stormed to death. Nice little Phalanx shot, doing a lot of good damage to the Dracodons. One of them getting dangerously low. Oh, you gotta watch out for that Cantavis. Oh, he's gonna die. Oh, Neblime trying to be a little bit cheeky. He ends up killing that Madrigal at the very least, but he is out of Storm now. Is going for a Witness before anything else, so no transport. Another Cantavis on the way. Gonna take the long way, of course. No Envoy on the way, and certainly no Cantor. It is going to be an Architect. Prostration stage as the next port of call for Neblime, as 12 o'clock will soon be taken. I guess this is more like a 1 o'clock or something from TopRamen, as third is on the way. Putting an anchor down for this Blackjacks as he starts to switch into more Phalanx-based play. Additional Fulcrums on the way. A lot of minerals, not a lot of Vespines, so wants to maybe rectify that situation. He does have... Looks like good saturation on the gas nodes in the base, main and natural. That anchor's still not staffed right now. You got to watch out for that one. I don't know why all the Masons were there for. They must have been just rallied or something. And the anchor will take a little bit of damage from that. So buildings take half damage from Storm. And so you kind of want to be careful about this because obviously the Cantavis will take a shellacking if you're not careful. But, you know, putting some good damage down, and with no healing to repair the Blackjacks, they do become pretty brittle in that situation. No healing and nothing to block with, like, ant seals or anything. Just more and more Fulcrums being added. Ramen is committed to the bit. He's going to go ahead and drop a 4th Ministry. That will be moving to probably this location, if I had to speculate. This space is starting to make workers locally. Neblime might actually want to move over there. I don't know if he must not have seen the... Ministry in transit, even though he had his Witness up here, it felt like, but I feel like maybe Ramen just sort of threaded the timing needle there. Blackjack gonna go ahead and lift off inside that anchor. It's only one Blackjack right now. Storm gonna go ahead and come out and do some damage to it. I don't know, you really want to watch out in this situation. It's gonna aggro in a lot more units. Man, if that Architect hadn't also attacked at the same time, oh, those Phalanxes would have just squished that Cantavis, the poor guy. Masons immediately being sent to harvest on the gas. Makes a lot of sense. Although now Ramen doesn't have enough minerals to grab his tier 2. You can see that storm stuff is still happening. You can hear that. That's another bug we fixed semi-recently. Is that storm in particular was not being gated positionally. Oh, the Architect gets absolutely shellacked. I can't believe it. Meanwhile, Atlas on the way. And now the big mech engagement from Ramen. Wants to go ahead and deploy his many madrigals. Kept them alive just in case he needs them for a later day. And look at that. Oh, the Herald goes down. That is going to consume all of the nearby corpses, but it that's just going to allow Neblime to get the hell out of Dodge at that point. Still no detection. We do have a fast Argosy making a Didact. The prostration stage was made. Did it make any units? I don't see any of the units that the prostration stage makes. So Neblime must have just... There you go. He's going to make some sycophants. I guess why not? They're mineral only. Might as well throw them in. So behind this, Neblime has a fully functional third base. Very saturated. A fourth base now coming online. Going to go ahead and hit the gas on that first. No gas capping just yet from either player. The Atlas not even quite finished for Ramen, so the availability will come on later. And it looks like he's actually interested in taking the island base at, I guess you could call that a 10 o'clock position, or an, yeah, because this would be 9, right? So we'll say this is 10. ROFL says Dog with a Pizza, also known as Smarty Cakes. Tier 2 now coming online. Not quite sure what we may have missed. Witnesses all over the map. Multiple Cantavis is hanging out as well. And the Blackjacks are now coming on in with the intent of shellacking the units here. Some nice little blankets of the multiple Cantavises. Really got to watch out for that. They are doing some pretty good damage to this front line, and now the Cantavises are in a hell of a position there, but the Phalanxes are still back here that whole time, so I don't know about Ramen pushing that far forward. He is really, it feels like he really is missing the Vulture spam that he had before. He's making a lot of Blackjacks, though. Adding a Starport. He has his units over here to probably make Mantles or something like that, or maybe more Starports. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Mantles. The 4 of those are going to be on the way. We do indeed have many more things going on. Some Pariahs, some more units on the way. The Envoy is empty. Doesn't actually have anything in it. That was clearly misrallied, it feels like. But, you know, puts the fear of God in TopRamen. He's worried about that. You know, he's worried about being dropped. And when you say the fear of God in the middle of Cosmonarchy, you must be talking about hit 'em up. But don't worry, the Didact will be spotted on the minimap surely. Immediately going to go ahead and transfer recall. And he storms the Ministry for good measure. Interesting choice. Throwing a Hallucinate on, why not? Alright, so the Watchdogs come online. He's going to start making the Brood War turret ring, as he calls it. And another Didact back at home has finished. The third one, I guess, is finished. The second one, getting those units off the island, although not all of them actually went. Neblime, not all of them went. Oh, no! Might have been Gigabrain, though. Look at how much money he spent on that. That's so wild. Yeah, you can keep these Draconans here to deny. These Phalanxes were left completely unguarded. What happened? Ramen, no! That's alright, he's got more over here, but still, I don't know what's going on. Mantle's now done. They're going to start training some Cataphracts as the Ministry attempts to land at the more traditional forward third. But it immediately has to lift off and move away. I do like that he's using Hallucinate to try to maximize the damage dealt. Stasis preemptively on a couple of these Phalanxes. It only lasts 8 seconds in Cosmonarchy, so not so sure about this one. The huge stack of Blackjacks is going to start to get psionically stormed. Nothing out of the Starport just yet, by the way. Another storm, another... Oh, yeah, well, freeze the units that you're storming. I guess there's some kind of synergy there, not really, but... You know, this front line or stack of units is just very brittle. Feels like target selection from the Phalanxes could have been better to clear these Cantavis as well, but you do got to watch out for the Architect. And with all of those ground units, you can't really allow the Blackjacks to get close enough to kill the Didacts either. So it does feel like the army is just about to be immediately annihilated. We do have a bunch of units transferring over from the 1 o'clock position to the top right. But yeah, I feel like there was a very heavy lack of anti-air and a massive number of Blackjacks in a use case where, admittedly, they do seem like a very niche unit. But oh, Dog with a Pizza is not pleased. He refuses to see Blackjacks die, I guess. I think blackjacks have an interesting potential position or niche, but what Rama was using them for, it doesn't seem like they were quite what they needed, right? And now the cataphracts are about to get descended upon. The Empyrean is out. The Didact is stasising willy-nilly. The Seraph is here, and even though he gets an irradiate off, he gets stasised. GG! And Ramen is taken down. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the first game of the set. Neblime coming on strong. Remember, TopRamen smashed Neblime 3-1 in a set in Tyrant's Tale very, very recently. So that victory probably feels good. Let's see what happens behind door number 2 of game number 2. And we're back. TopRamen once again, the Silver Terran in the top left. Neblime down here in the bottom right. Ooh, is this maroon? Oh, it was blood. Well, thanks to TopRamen, I will always have 50% color accuracy because he's only ever silver or platinum. I guess we should add... I guess we have goldenrod, so that could be used for gold. And then there's not really a diamond color. There's emerald. Maybe emerald counts? I think there's an emerald color. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I think there is an emerald green color. And then... is there a color for, like, that would be for Grandmaster and Master and stuff? I'm not sure. I don't know. I was just thinking about, like, you could do... Because I know there's, like, dark bronze or whatever. So there's a couple of colors that we could use for a ranking system, anyway. And it would be really funny if you rolled a certain color and that dictated your build order. So if you got the silver, then you have to, like, do a silly fucking cheese build or something. I don't know. I'm sure somebody like Hit 'em Up would be down for that. Gateway halfway done here for Neblime. And over in TopRamen's base, he has the second fulcrum being made. I will take this opportunity to take a sip and tell you guys that if you enjoy Cosmonarchy, then you should absolutely play in our tournament and or watch the tournament and or get the game, install it, play the single player stuff, all that stuff. Join our Discord server. It'll be great. It'll be a great time. I'm very much looking forward to when I finish the sound effects for Terran construction as well, so that when the structure actually completes, you hear a little bit of a thunk sound of some kind. I just feel like having audio that is related to the like the visuals like that seems like a really good idea. Now, that scribe pocketed itself in a very cheeky location, and the Vulture will not be able to find it. So there will be a rescout at some point. I doubt that the second Vulture is going to find it. Let's check the rallies. The rallies are still to the ramp. Interesting stuff here for TopRamen. It doesn't look like he gets into the habit of correcting his rallies. And he's going to go ahead and do the little dance-off here versus Neblime. I thought that Ramen got ahead from the early shenanigans. And that's why it didn't make... it didn't surprise me, actually, for him to go Scrapyard. I feel like it wasn't a terrible play if he had been able to reinforce this front line and keep the Vultures alive or the mines alive or something. It's like a good tempo play in theory. Ministry now on the way here for Ramen. He's cut workers for that. The one gate Grand Library into a second gate. So Neblime going to go for a more military-focused option this time, and I think he's learned his lessons too. He is not interested in skirmishing around that bridge, and you can see Ramen is, you know, just sharking around. He's looking for stuff. If he was to reinforce that position as well, I feel like, yeah, he could absolutely lay the mines, try to get a little bit of a soft containment in. So there you go. Pretty good stuff there. Again, though, having the Vulture on the rally feels like if his goal is to try to do some early aggro, I don't know. There's something about that just doesn't quite rub me the right way. Gonna go ahead and blindly storm. It does pop one of the mines. You can see here, going to try to use this opportunity to just pick the Cantavis. That is successful. So that is going to be a successful pick. Now, he doesn't end up killing the Scribe. I feel like maybe if he had, that would have been great to delay the natural even further. Great stun on the 3 remaining units that were in that battle. Vulture's once again going to go ahead and hurry off as Neblime's Scout Scribe is going to start to leave a pylon there. A classic maneuver. More mines going off as this last Vulture manages to escape. And we do have 2 more Vultures coming out. The Scribe will obviously be picked here. but he sees the Ministry already complete, and that does narrow the number of things that could happen here. We do have a Vulture just lurking over here for the purposes of anti-drop play, it looks like. Maybe a bit, still a little bit paranoid, perhaps. Ramen not responding to this Legionnaire coming up on his Vulture means that that will end up dying. A little bit unfortunate for our Terran player. 2 Draconins being made. This was an incredibly fast 1-base tier 2. Even though he makes the Ministry, this is like a very greedy build. This is a very greedy play here for Ramen going into that situation. He does have the mines, but he only has 4 Vultures. He's got 2 more that'll be done pretty soon. He does have this one that's down here on anti-drop play. I would just lay the mines and pull back immediately if I was in his shoes, because I would be very paranoid about the frontal walk through. He doesn't really have any early warning systems or anything. Draconins, the Cantavis, there will be some kind of deployment of that Cantavis as an aggressive option here. And the Vultures are going to go ahead and get some mines planted. Those will get cleared by Storm. Gotta watch out for that, right? Not quite able to clear any mines over in that location, but yeah, he's trying to. And there you go, just laying the mines in his face. Did he remember that these mines are actually there? Did he actually clock that position? Is he going to go ahead and hit that? Another anchor coming up over in this location. Gotta expect that. Looks like a couple of the mines are going to go down. That also reveals where more of them are with that little detonation there. Just laying some more for the extra confusion, right? 2 Vultures in the anchor. That works out, I suppose. That is an unfortunate mine detonation, courtesy of that Legionnaire. Who said Legionnaires were useless, dude? You can use the Legionnaires to pop mines and to prank the Terran. That anchor not actually going to end up getting cleared. Another Legionnaire gets destroyed. Everything on hold position. Tier 2 is now complete and has been for some time. We've got 2 mantles halfway done. That Mason is not going to be able to repair too much. Mines hitting the units inside that are directly adjacent to this little runway into the main base. I don't like this position for Ramen, but honestly, I also think Neblime is in a tough spot when it... Oh, both of his Cantavis is getting double stunned here, but Ramen not seizing on the opportunity. Maybe didn't notice. Hierophant is going to get brought down by the Vultures. So much less combat disruption now. Would love to see some of the Vultures pick off the Cantavis specifically, but it's not quite going to be enough. So it seems. More units coming on in. I think we just saw the mantles finish, but nothing actually being made out of them just yet. Cataphracts take a long time. A Fulcrum on the low ground, that's a very bold place to put it. I just feel like maybe Ramen's build might have been slightly too greedy. He never really pivoted off of Vultures either, so he doesn't have Goliaths for like the sustained damage. He has doesn't really have anything for any more ranged defense, like no phalanxes. He never finished the second anchor, stuff like that, right? And so, yeah, he's only even had enough resources to make 1 cataphract at a time. It looks like he was really low on gas. Oh, he's trying to go after the Draconin, but that's not necessarily the main target. There you go. Try to pick those Cantavises, get right on top of them, but even that's not going to be enough. And he's focusing down the right mantle. GG is called. And that quick game is enough to show me that Neblime still has it in him for sure. No flukes here. And, all right, well, we've got a number of other games to cast here, so I say we move on to our 3rd match of the day to see what's going on there. And then we can, of course, finish the set in a second part later on. So strap yourselves in for the final game of today's video. Well, trying to put Potidea through its paces, we've got TopRamen as the Platinum Terran in the top left. And we've got Neblime as the Dark Olive Protoss in the bottom right. I got one right, guys. I got about 50%. Hell yeah, brother. All right, so Neblime is going to be presumably going 1 Gate Grand Library. Again, that is his favored build. A lot of other Protosses prefer other build openers, even versus Terran, so it's interesting to see his style being active, and maybe it'll change up some things about the meta a little bit. Ramen trying some greedy stuff, as well as trying some very committed Tier 1 stuff. That's what we saw in the second game and the first game, respectively. I wonder what his play will be going forward. We obviously are going to have the Fulcrum opener yet again. That's not a surprise. But will he be going for anything more than that? Will he be going for something, aggressive again? I do think that the dance with the Vultures makes sense to me. People don't bother making Cyclops, even though you're usually versus Gateway Grand Library units. You'd think that's going to be a lot of targets for the Cyclops to potentially splash. But you know what? Fair enough. Like, the Cyclops is pretty brittle. I would want something that can shrug off the storms for a little bit, and that seems like the Goliath, maybe the Matador. You know, in these low unit count situations, having tanky units makes a lot of sense. This is the first game where Ramen is actually going to scout with a Mason. So that's already a bit of a deviation. He is still going the second Fulcrum here, but this is a less economic opener given that he's going with a scout. And that tells me that maybe he's not going to be going for the instant ministry into the instant tier 2. Because he did bank up 600 gas off of just harvesting over here. And you can see here, he has 0 gas in the bank. He is going pure mineral for the time being. So I think what he's probably optimizing for is a fast ministry for his round 2. Vulture is going to go ahead and pop out and put some distance between itself and the Scribe. And there you go. It's going to go ahead and get things cleared. This Mason not actually moving up the ramp to see what's coming. It is going to be a Gateway Grand Library opener. There is a Hierophant on the way. I would almost love to see, yeah, there is going to be an anchor being built here. At best, for Neblime's perspective, the best thing that can happen here is that this gets interrupted by the Hierophant, but I don't even know if it's going to. It's going to be about 75% before the Hierophant reaches the ramp. So it might not actually get interrupted, and really depends on what Neblime wants to do with it. Looks like he is going to go ahead and heckle him, but is it going to be enough? No, he actually pulls it off. I don't know if that was the right move. Ramen, it was almost done. I think it would have actually hit. And there you go. It is going to go ahead and finish. You might even go ahead and load it into the anchor to avoid damage. Laying down some of the mines. This does complicate things, right? Now we know that Ramen is going to go for that ministry. There we go, just as we foresaw it. And, you know, he's also stopping Neblime from expanding. So he's going to force him into a second gateway, which is maybe not where his build wanted to go. Cantavis on the way to help siege that up. Makes a lot of sense. We've got 2 Vultures. The Mason actually leaving the building. Probably going to be fitting himself up a Watchdog Scout for the purposes of eventually lifting off and moving up there. Laying the mines. There we go. Okay, this is a pretty good setup here for our Terran player. Remember, when the Cantavis is out, which it actually already is, he can just storm the mines to clear them. That does make sense. He canceled that a little bit later than we might have thought. That's a good storm. It is going to pop 2 more. As I don't know if that was luck or skill or a little bit of both. Watchdog Scout now complete is going to meander its way over to the bottom right. 2 more Vultures on the way. He's cleared out pretty much all of the mines in front of the anchor, but is he aware of these other 2? I'm not so sure. He might just end up storming the anchor now to try to get rid of that. And look at that. The Legionnaire is going to get heckled almost to death. Like, 1 more Vulture shot would have done it. And and doesn't end up quite being it. Watchdog revealing all, sees all. We've got multiple Dracodons coming out. Anchor just ends up lifting and moving to another location. Going to go ahead and drop the mines over there. That's obviously going to be stormed to death. Some battle workers here, presumably to clear mines potentially. That storm is just going to be on the anchor itself. Double Cantavis out now, trading some mines for workers and legionnaires. So far, Ramen is going to be kind of happy with this. His ministry is done, but let's see. Is he? Oh, he goes after the worker. It feels like that was a misfire. He definitely could have just hit the Cantavis instead. Right now, oh, that's a pretty good stun. Is he going to go after it? I mean, he goes after the one that's stunned, but these units are being focused down. Okay, 1 Cantavis does end up going down. The mines go off to stun many more units, but the Vultures are out. And so, yeah, you know what? He cleared all the workers that were in the forefront. So a worker to expand is now going to have to be sent from the main. We are going to see that happen. I guess the biggest concern I have here is that ministry was done for a while, and Ramen was maybe overly focused on the battle, so he didn't end up lifting it and landing it. He doesn't have a worker lead off of any of that. He will have some worker lead considering his ministry is going to be landed as the Nexus is on the way. But Neblime looks like he's going to be interested in double expanding out of this. And Amaranth is going to go ahead and get stunned. That is going to cause more and more delay on this push here, as that was going to be a very pivotal part of the push, it feels like. Falling back and allowing the Legionnaire to clear so many of the mines might be a little bit of a mistake. The Vultures need to swing onto that Cantavis. Oh, look at that. Ahmed trying his best as well. The Hurricanes charging forward, seeing how much damage that they can do. It's not a crazy amount. Remember, this is a brittle attack from Neblime in some ways. It is counting on the Cantavis, and there is only 1 of them here right now. But 3 more Zealots and another Cantavis are on the way. Looks like the Legionnaire will end up being popped. And we've got some Hurricanes to help burn down the shields of the Dracodon and the Legionnaires. But the Vultures are not focused on attacking them. Are kind of cut off by that Cantavis storm. I don't know. This feels a little bit too much here for Ramen to deal with. More and more vultures coming out, more Hurricanes coming out. Is it going to be enough? Storming your own zealots, maybe not the best plan. Here he pulls them away, but the vultures over here are so bruised, I don't think they can reasonably attack the units out here. And look, all of the queues are idle. Ramen had so much money built up, but he wasn't actually using it there, slipping on the macro. The crisis management being a little bit too worked up here as the storms continue. Oh, the workers go down, and that is another GG, boys. That was a fast one again. So Neblime rushing out these Cantavises has been a victory condition for him in these matches. And I can't help but feel like I look at that and I think to myself, damn, dude, you're rocking it in that situation. But what happens when the vulture control gets better? What happens when, the target selection in the middle of these fights is better? When Ramen adjusts to these positions and he's able to see, okay, I just need to, sort of move my I have to click past whatever my target is so my vultures move forward. And then I got to click the intended target to launch the volley. And it only takes, say, like 4 vulture hits or 5 vulture hits or something to one-shot the Cantavus. Whenever he figures that out, I think it's 5. Yeah, I think it would be 5 shots there to one-shot the Cantavus. What happens when he figures out exactly how to handle that from a micro standpoint and just does the moving shot volley and then falls back, and suddenly you have no Cantavus? Because really, when you're building Cantavus versus vultures, the vultures are supposed to be able to clear that fight until there's a massive wall of units that they can't really move through. And so, I mean, this is an older patch, right? A slightly older update. This is back when, for example, they could still cast Psionic Storm and then be inside a transport. We didn't end up seeing that in action, obviously, in any of these games. But, there's still some things that are up in the air as far as the balance is concerned. But Ramen has been trying to do these greedy openers with a very fast Ministry and sometimes even a very fast Tier 2. And yet, despite that, he is still applying so much pressure with the early vultures and, of course, that early anchor as well today in that last game that we just saw. I don't know, man. It feels pretty good to me. It feels like Ramen has the right recipe here. It just needs to learn how to, maybe the order of his ingredients need to be done a little bit better. Maybe it just needs to work a little bit on the seasoning of this dish or something before it goes down the right way. But Neblime up to a 3-0 lead in the series. Will come back with some more action between these two players in the next video that we do. So GG, stay subscribed, jump into Cosmonarchy, etc., etc. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.